up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for September 10th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the podcast. It is Tuesday. That means it's time for a little motivation / positivity. And I came through this quote, or across this quote, a couple weeks ago, and I've been sitting on it, and I feel like this is the perfect time to bust it out. But that quote is, it's not the will to win that matters. Everyone has that. It's the will to prepare to win that matters, and that is the legendary Alabama coach, Bear Bryant. And I feel like you could substitute the word win in there for really anything you're working toward, whether it's a weight loss goal, promotion at work, saving money for whatever it is. You have to be prepared for whatever your win is. And it takes work. And we've talked a lot over the past couple weeks about just the grind and putting in work. And really, it's not easy. A lot of things in life are not easy. That's if they were, everybody would be out there doing everything they wanted. But a lot of times when things get hard or adversity comes, they're not prepared for it. And I feel the ones who achieve are the ones who are out there grinding every day. And like I said, you can substitute win for whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. But ultimately, follow through with it. Put in the work, prepare yourself, and make it happen. I feel like it's easy to just sit back and say, oh, well, this didn't happen, so I'm just going to move on. No, I mean, prepare for it. You have to do the little things that allow you to be successful. And like I said, it's the grind every day that I think sometimes people don't want to put in. And if you're preparing yourself to win, to lose weight, to get the promotion at work, to save money, get out of debt, start a podcast, whatever it could be, those are the people that are successful. You need to prepare for it. You can't just go on a whim and at the first sign of adversity completely give up. And I think that's the difference for we'll keep it in a sports term between winners and losers. It's easy to just give up and say, it's not going to happen. It's easy to leave negative comments on a YouTube channel with obviously no concept of the context of anything. It's easy to just say, well, this is hard, I'm not going to do it. Prepare to win, and that will make sure you're successful. So it's not the will to win that matters, because everybody has it. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to lose weight, save money, get the promotion, follow their dreams, start a business, whatever it could be. It's the will to prepare for that victory, that weight loss, that saving the money, that going on vacation, getting that promotion. Those are the things that separates the people that win from the people that lose. So as you go through your week, hopefully you can take the words of the legendary coach from Alabama, Bear Bryant, and it's not the will to win that matters. Everybody has that. It's the will to prepare to win that matters. So take that through your week. Do the little things. Keep grinding. We're all out here grinding. I grind every day now for a little over 2 years. For this podcast. It's a grind with family and all of that, but it's the grind that makes the journey and prepares you to be successful. So take that throughout your week, and we'll be back next Tuesday with some more motivation / positivity. Some quick housekeeping notes. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott at Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. You can find me there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott. I'm still working on some things production-wise behind the scenes that once I get that done, I think we'll be able to really open some things up and have some fun with it. So spread the word as well. That's the best thing right now. It's a slow burn. We're getting there, but be sure to follow all the socials and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences. They taped the new football episode tonight. I'm really looking forward to when that gets released on Thursday, just to see what they have to say. And also to check on Topher to see how he's doing after that Giants loss. But that's available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And then go to Philly Goat, do some shopping there. They got a great selection of T-shirts. They have great shirts that really go to help charitable organizations, the Battle Brothers Foundation, the Darren Doughton Foundation, as well as many other things. So go check out what they have on their site. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. That's phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. All right, so we went from a little bit of motivation, positivity. Got to take it down a notch. And Phil's won last night. Good win, gritty win. They won it with a walk-off in the bottom of the ninth. Shouldn't have gotten to that point for a couple reasons. First, it was the Rojas catch that fell over the fence for a home run. And no shame, no blame, nothing but love for Rojas for that. It was a hell of an effort. Most guys would have just let that go right into the hedges out there. Made a great effort, couldn't pull it back in. He was down about it. He was upset, but that was one hell of an effort from him. Going to the other end, though, and somebody who did not put in a ton of effort that could have cost them the game, our highest paid player on the team and superstar, Bryce Harper, did not hustle out on the fly ball to right center. Thought it was a home run. Watched it. That's like Little League 101 right there. It's what I've been teaching my son for the past year and a half. Don't watch how far you hit it. Run down the first base. And it should have been a double. And you could see that Topper was very, very pissed off about it. Apparently Bryce apologized for it. Great, but still doesn't excuse the fact that you did it. And luckily, Cody Clemens was able to bail him out because you could have had Bryce on second with one out when Castellanos came up. Instead, you got lucky with Stott beating out the infield hit, and then the walk to Buddy. I can't think of his last name now. And then Cody Clemens came up and got the hit. It's just... I feel like that's inexcusable. More on that in a minute. But Christopher Sanchez was great. 6 innings, 4 Ks, no runs. Schwarber hit another bomb. Dude is like lights out right now. Rangers on the mound tonight. And in the standings, 7 ahead of the Mets with 6 big games or 7 big games. I forget how much it is coming up against them soon. 3.5 up on Milwaukee. Have 3 games coming up with them very soon. Tied with the Dodgers for the first seed. Magic number for the division is 12, 10 to clinch a playoff spot. But this next 9-game stretch, you got, I think it's 9 or 10. I thought they had 7 against the Mets, but I quickly counted this morning 6, and maybe I might have miscounted. But you got 2 series against the Mets. You got a series against the Brewers in there. And really, you could come out of that with a lot of things clinched if things go right. So big stretch for the Phils coming up after 2 more with Tampa Bay. Now back to Bryce. And if it was a one-time deal, I'm okay with it. But this has been his MO all season with not hustling ground balls out, fly balls, and it's cost them a lot. And it's starting to become a little concerning because then also Brandon Marsh, and I get his bat literally shattered and it probably stung, so he was a little slow getting out of the box. But I don't know. I don't want to be too hard on Brandon. Maybe it's because of what Bryce did. I'm even bringing this up. But he could have beat that ball out had he hustled out of the box. So, and I don't know if they're looking at Bryce. Well, Bryce isn't doing it. We got to save ourselves. But it's happened too often this year for it to be a coincidence. And yeah, it's great that you apologize and owned it, but it still does not excuse the fact that it did it. And truthfully, if I was Topper, I would sit Bryce down. I know you're in the middle of a pennant race, but he would not play today. Bench him, send a message to your team that I don't care who you are, we're better than this, and hopefully it sparks a fire. And if you're Bryce Harper, you're the leader of this team, I would go to Topper, and even if it's staged, who cares? Go to Topper behind the scenes and say, hey, bench me to send a message to this team. And you do 2 things. You send a message to the team, and you also give him a day rest because of whatever is bothering him in his arm or whatever. But I feel he should be benched. And, I mean, it's happened too often. I think it sends a message, and if you do it today, it's against the Rays, so it's not necessarily it's not like you're sending him against the Mets or the Brewers, but it sends a message, and I doubt he's going to do it. But if I was a manager, I would set him down. I mean, Charlie Manuel did it to Jimmy Rollins a couple times, I think, and it really for the same thing. And listen, you're the highest. Everybody's looking to you. You're the highest paid player on the team. You're the superstar. You're the one that everybody looks to. You can't be having those things. Thankfully, it didn't cost them last night, but it certainly could have. And the Mets are red hot, so those are going to be some two tough series against them. And I mean, they're only 7 games, and you play each other 6-7 times, so you got to send the message. And like I said, I don't see it happening, but if I was Topper, I would bench him. If I was Bryce Harper, I would say, you know what? Send a message to this team. Bench me today. But it won't happen. But what do you think? That's today's question of the day. Should Bryce Harper be benched for his continued lack of hustle throughout this season, especially in an important pennant race? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Leave me your thoughts on that and anything else Philly sports related. But to me, you got to send a message, and maybe I'm crazy. Let me know that. Am I crazy for thinking you need to bench Bryce Harper? Is that really like an old school thing? But should he be benched for his continued lack of hustle throughout this season? Luckily, it didn't cost them last night. But let me know your thoughts, 267-495-8531. Hit me up on any of the social media as well. But to me, Bryce needs to sit down a game for that. I think it does. It sends a message. And, I mean, think about it. And I know this is a personal thing to me. But, I mean, I have my son who thinks it's okay. Like, whatever. I'm just not going to run it out, or I'm going to watch my fly ball. And, no, you got to hustle, because he could have been on second base. And I know he plays hard all the time, but this lack of hustle on ground balls and fly balls is becoming a theme. Send a message. Fire up the team. Even if they all hate you, Topper. Get them the Phillies in the 80s. They won in spite of Dallas Green. They hated him. Absolutely hated him. They still won the World Series. Set your superstar down for a game against the Rays. Send a message, because you can't have this. Because if you're doing this now, what's going to happen in October when you're playing a better team than the Rays and you could have that runner on second base? Let me know what you think, though. Am I nuts for thinking you need to sit down Bryce Harper for a game? 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. Get that. Anything else Philly sports related or even life related off of your chest. But Bryce, to me, needs to sit down for a game. All right, we turn the page now on the Packers. Week 1 in the NFL is over. Got an extra day this week. Not a big fan of when the Eagles play on Monday Night Football, to be completely honest with you. I hate waiting the extra day. I hate just waiting all day then on Monday. Going down to the game. I hate going to primetime games. It's just, it's not fun. I mean, it will be fun to get down there, but I just don't like Monday night games. But the early line, Eagles open up at 6.5-point favorites. The over-under is at 48. It is Nick Foles' retirement ceremony, which should be a lot of fun. Thank you, Nick, for the Super Bowl. Hopefully it's not another how many other years before we win another one. But we'll have more on this as the Eagles start practicing and as we prepare for the Falcons on Monday night. Little side note, if you haven't done so already, check out the commercial for Garage Beer with Jason Kelsey and Bo Allen. Hilarious. This dude just, he's just hilarious. He's just, it's funny. And actually, not a sponsor, but hey, Jason, if you want to, I'd be more than willing to take you on as a sponsor. Garage Beer isn't that bad. It's Miller Lite-esque. A little bit, I think, lower alcohol content, but wasn't too bad. It was great. Went on a golf outing back in June, had a 12-pack of it, and it was super, super hot, and it was very refreshing. So, but check out the commercial. It is pretty funny. All right, today, speaking of that 1980s Phillies team, we're going to go back to 1980 today. And on this day, the Phillies beat the Mets 5-0. The offense pounded out 15 hits. Pete Rose, who came into the game slumping throughout the month of September, went 1 for 5 with a double. This is where he started to turn it around coming in and heading into October. Bake McBride went 4 for 5 with a double and an RBI. Gary Maddox went 3 for 4 with 2 RBI. And then Larry Bow also went 3 for 4. But the big story was the starting pitcher that day for the Phillies was Marty Bystrom, who was a rookie. He was making his first major league start. All he did was go out and pitch a complete game 5-hitter with 5 strikeouts. Also went 1 for 4 at the plate, scored a run. So a good day for Marty Bystrom on this day in 1980. Marty down that stretch would pitch 6 games for the Phillies and went 5-0 with a 1.5 ERA, 21 strikeouts. Helped them chase down the Expos because at this point in the season, the Phillies were still in second place. Started Game 2 of the NLCS, started Game 5 of the World Series, and really was just a huge part of that 1980 World Series team. Really provided them an extra arm in the starting rotation, and we all know how that season went out. I don't know. It's still waiting for that guy for this year to step up and be that 5th starter from the minor leagues. I mean, we've seen Colby Allard play decent, Tyler Phillips, but then get lit up before. So who knows if we even have that guy on the team for this year. But on this day in 1980, Marty Bystrom made his first major league start, shutting out the Mets 5-0, going 1 for 4 at the plate, and then actually finishing the season 5-0 with a 1.5 ERA and really being a huge part of that Phillies title run in 1980, all because they hated Dallas Green. So maybe, Topper, the team should hate you, bench Bryce Harper. All right, today, finally, we're going to look at our Philly sports villains. These are players or coaches with Philly connections who turned into a villain. Many of them still hate it today. This one was a frustrating one when I even was typing out my notes. But Al Horford, remember him? Al Horford, 4-year, $109 million contract in 2009. He was 33 years old at the time, was signed by Elton Brand. I want to make sure I made that distinction. He was supposed to be that missing piece defensively for the Sixers. This is before Ben Simmons completely forgot how to play. Joel Embiid was still coming into his own. He was supposed to provide some of that leadership, help them out defensively, and really just be that piece that took them over the top. They signed him, let Jimmy Butler walk, which is still that's the added wrinkle to this whole story that has me frustrated. But he just never was a fit. Just never fit offensively. Created spacing issues when him and Joe were on the court at the same time. He averaged 12 points a game, 7.7 rebounds, 35% from three-point, right around, I guess, what his career averages was. But it ultimately stunted the growth of Joe. He may have been a better fit if Joe was not on the team playing alongside Ben Simmons. But he was also non-existent in the playoffs. Now, to be fair, that playoffs was the COVID year inside the bubble, so really nobody cared or actually played much or gave much effort that year in the bubble. And as much as this is an irrational thought and probably zero kernels of truth to it, I'm still not convinced he was not sent here by the Celtics as a spy to figure out how to stop Joel Embiid. Because if you look at it, since he was here, the Celtics have been on an upward trajectory where the Sixers have been relatively stagnant. Again, irrational, probably not true, but I mean, can you prove that he wasn't sent here by the Celtics for a spy? Because all of a sudden he gets traded to Oklahoma City. Celtics give up a first-round pick to Oklahoma City, and all of a sudden he's winning titles with Boston again. Like I said, I'm not saying he was sent here as a spy. I'm also not saying he was not sent here as a spy. I mean, if you start connecting some of the dots, Let me know what you think about that too. Am I just bitter? Likely that is true. Luckily, and I'm going to give Daryl Morey some props because he gets a bad rep here in Philly. But when he took over that following season, somehow he was able to get rid of the contract and trade Al Horford. He had to give up a first-round pick for this year, which is protected. So they get, if it's the top six, somehow if the Sixers get a top six pick, they still keep that pick. But if not, we don't have any draft picks for this year. But it's still better than having to put up with a horrible fit on the team, Al Horford. Sixers did pick up Danny Green in that trade with Oklahoma City. Again, no draft picks this year, but we were able to get out of the stupid, ridiculous contract that Elton Brand, who gets by scot-free. And I don't want to turn this in because Al Horford is the villain here. But, I mean, Elton Brand gets a free pass but a lot of times here in Philly. I guess because he's not out frontward facing. I don't know. And then, of course, Al Horford always has been a Sixers killer in his career, specifically in the playoffs against the Celtics, which is more evidence that he is a spy from Boston who was sent here to get inside information. And Joe has not played well against the Celtics since Horford had that disastrous season here. So again, I'm not saying or accusing anybody of anything. However, just that's a large coincidence for not some type of craziness to be happening. Maybe somehow Brian Colangelo was involved. I don't know. I'm just saying. But Al Horford is today's Philly sports villain, the guy who has Philly connections, turned into a villain. I don't think Al Horford ever turned not into a villain, though. I don't think anybody was a fan of the signing. I don't think anybody was a fan when he was here. I think it was obvious immediately from the start that this was just a horrible fit, horrible signing. Thank God for Daryl Morey for getting us out of it, despite having no first-round draft pick this year. But Al Horford, God, I hate that dude. On this day in 1980, Phillies beat the Mets 5-0. Marty Bystrom, with his first major league start, went 5-0 down the stretch for the Phillies, helped them overtake the Expos, win the division, and then ultimately the World Series over the Royals. We'll have more on the Eagles as the week goes. Let me know your thoughts on the Phils, though. Should Bryce Harper be benched? I say yes. Send the message. Do it against the Rays, so it's not really going to hurt the team that much. Get his head right. Get the team's head right heading into the Mets and Brewers. And, I mean, I don't care who you are, how much money you make. If you were on my team and I was the manager, you were going to be benched. I think he should be benched. But let me know. 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. If it happened once, I'll give you once. But this has been like 4, 5, 6 times now this season that we have incidents where Bryce Harper didn't hustle or run something out, and it's cost the Phillies. Luckily, Cody Clemens bailed him out. So if anything, he should buy Cody Clemens a beer and then sit on the bench. Remember, it's not the will to win that matters. Everybody has that. It's the will to prepare to win that matters. That is a quote from the legendary Alabama coach Bear Bryant. So as you go through your week, prepare to win. And the win could be anything that's important to you. Being a better parent, being a better spouse. Simple as that. Losing weight, eating better. Whatever it is, be willing to prepare and put in that work. And as you go through your week, remember the words of the great Bear Bryant. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for September 10th, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery. It's Ranger Suarez Day, one of my favorite days. Hopefully he can continue his trajectory back because they're certainly going to need him down the stretch. But go have yourselves a Tuesday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.